CPP launches manifesto with focus on socio-economic policies, responsive governance and international relations.
French Prime Minister Mr. Manuel Valls arrives in the country on a 2-day state visit. Hello, good evening, and thanks so much for joining us. This is News Hour Live on GBC24. We're also live on Ghana Television. My name is Akpene Avo Ajaja.
And my name is Emmanuel Amagashi.
Let's look at the stories now in detail. The Political Science Department of the University of Ghana has organized an international conference to discuss electoral processes ahead of the 2016 elections.
The conference focused on expanding the frontiers of electoral politics in the country.
The conference, organized in collaboration with the International Institute of Democratic Elections in Africa, touched on issues such as gender in election 2016 and key campaign issues of critical interest to the Ghanaian voter, among others. The main speaker, Professor Adebayo Olukushi, mentioned that no country can develop without robust public policies.
Which African country is not confronted with a problem of corruption today? And the issue really is a matter of degrees. It's a matter of degrees. The only difference is a matter of degrees. Right? I come from a place where people don't bat an eyelid, taking the entire budget and going away.
The program officer of the International Institute of Democratic Elections in Africa, Nicholas Matutu, stated reasons for partnering with the University of Ghana to hold the conference.
The University of Ghana, and in specific the Political Science Department, is one of the leading political science departments across the continent. And as I mentioned before, our mandate is really to look into production of comparative knowledge, and so we thought with the excellent resources here that we would partner with the university to try and promote a wider discussion around the elections, not narrowly focused on the elections in 2016, but what they mean more broadly for democratic consolidation.
Professor Emmanuel Deborah, a lecturer at the Political Science Department of the University of Ghana, believes political parties are speaking to issues through their manifestos.
If you look at the political landscape, the campaign process, parties are touching on the critical issues that the voters expect the parties to legislate on to bring improvement about their living conditions for now.
Go to Tema now, where the Regional Police Command says it has identified 201 hotspots in Tema and surrounding communities, especially in Ashaiman. It has therefore called for all hands on deck approach to ensure a peaceful election come December 7. Addressing journalists at Tema, the Tema Police Public Relations Officer, Assistant Superintendent Julian Obeng, advised the media to be circumspect in their reportage on the elections.
8 days to elections, it is the concern of all Ghanaians that the December poll goes successfully and peacefully without any incident. The role of the media in ensuring a peaceful election cannot be overemphasized. The Tema chapter of the Ghana Journalists Association has therefore organized a workshop for its members to remind them of the critical role they play in delivering a peaceful election. The president of the Tema chapter of the GGA, Mr. Dominic Hloji, said the country's electioneering process continues to witness a lot of changes, hence the need for this training that is aimed at equipping the media for the December polls. According to the Tema Police Public Relations Officer, Assistant Superintendent Juliana Obeng, there is the need for journalists to guard the peace by refraining from reports that will heighten tension. The Tema Metro Director of the Electoral Commission, Nana Odro, took participants through portions of the CI 94 and indicated the role the media can play to ensure a successful election. The president of the Ghana Journalists Association, Mr. Afomoni, cautioned journalists and media practitioners against interpret language.
The destiny of this nation is in the hands of two main institutions, the military and the media. We thank God the military have decided to confine themselves to the barracks, leaving the media to steal the show, either wrongly or rightly. So please, we all have our agendas, we all have our interests, but for the sake of peace, let's subordinate our agendas and interests to the supreme interests of this nation.
The workshop was on the theme, Towards a Peaceful Election, the Role of the Media.
French Prime Minister Mr. Emmanuel Val has arrived in Ghana for a 2-day official visit. Mr. Val was met on arrival at the Kotoka International Airport by Vice President Kwesi Arthur and other government functionaries. The French Prime Minister is on a 3-country West African tour of Togo, Ghana and La Côte d'Ivoire. This is expected to strengthen cooperation between France and the 3 West African countries. For Ghana, Mr. Val's visit forms part of preparatory works as France is exploring more areas to increase its investment and trade opportunities. During interactions between Vice President Kwesi Arthur and Mr. Val, Ghana received recommendation for her key role at the UN and efforts at promoting peace and stability on the African continent. Mr. Emmanuel Val will end his tour of the sub-region in La Côte d'Ivoire. It's still News Hour live on GBC24. Let's do some campaign stories now. And Nana Akufo-Addo is currently on a campaign tour of the Greater Accra region. Let's go over onto the phone lines and speak to our man who is monitoring events, Gilbert Enim. Hello, Gilbert.
Hello, Akwane.
Gilbert, where has Nana visited so far?
Hello.
Gilbert, can you hear me?
Hello, Akwane.
Yes, Gilbert. Hello?
If I got you right, Nana, the blood bearer of the new patriotic party, Nana Adulam Akufo-Addo, has visited the commission today. The visitor of the South and Central, currently a public Central, addressing the 12 years. Nana Adulam Akufo-Addo said a number of things that NDC about the property on democracy. He initiated the National Health Insurance, the application one, the free maternal health care, and apart from all these things, the NDC wants to do more. The NDC wants to bring the Sustainable Development Fund. They want to bring the Northern Development Fund, the Middle Belt and then the Savannah Development Fund. And so we think that the NDC has four of this things that is going to embark on industrialization of the country's economy. And that with industrialization, his vision of one district, one factory will be a reality. He's saying that Ghanaians should take him for his word, that every single promise he has made on campaign platform is going to deliver every single promise he has made on campaign platform. And he's ready to serve Ghanaians. He's an incorruptible leader. He's ready to serve the nation and make sure that Ghana will be on the right path of prosperity.
Gilbert, so how are the people receiving the message?
The people are very enthusiastic about the message. We are very happy to see the man anywhere we go. A place like Papa, where we got the whole area. The whole activities in the area was what we are trying to. You see people hailing him, and then you see them chanting slogans, Yarisam. And so all over the place, for him, he's so happy at the way the people are receiving him, and then he thinks that the people are ready for him and Ghanaians are ready for change.
This is his first day in the Greater Accra region. Where is he moving to? Maybe tomorrow. Where in the Greater Accra region is Nanado moving to?
Can you come again on that?
Today is his first day, right? Touring Greater Accra region.
Yeah. I said earlier that in this sort of concrete house, or concrete center, he's now at town council in the Ablekuma Center. That's where he actually ended for.
Today, so tomorrow, where is he moving to?
So he'll be moving to Tema 4. Later after campaign one. So tomorrow, he's getting all party people to move to Tema for later after campaign one.
Thank you very much, Gilbert. That will be all for now. We've been speaking with a man on the ground. He's currently with the Nana Akufo-Addo campaign team, and they are touring the Greater Accra region. It's still News Are Live on GBC24. Now let's move to the camp of the NDC. The National Democratic Congress NDC also campaigned at Osino and Enyinam. During its Eastern Regional Tour, voters were asked to re-elect President John Mahama to complete his agenda for transformation of the economy.
The NDC campaigned at Osino.
Almost you register separate. And you register one. You register one. Mobile cooperatives. Cooperative bia be woni pa be 21. Cooperative bia. Na ya chemo asase a mo be yeduma oso. Na mo yeduma oso a mo di sika kakra be to nchen. Mo di sika kakra be to nchen. Mo di sika kakra be to nchen. Se na be ya mo yeduma ni wi a yetimi enya bulldozer na abepia anwano na alebo na afaya.
This is Enyine. The president's campaign team was also at Ahomahomaso in Fantiakwa North District.
Na yenim say yenuanum MPP for buy am say atin for party MPP enti no mba mpuntu obeba MPP fi anwotu mu mpuntu obi o ha na mu bi o ha na NDC saba ya no ana yehu mpuntu bebre kopem say etimi twa sa kwan ya efri bagro abasi ko simi aso yede ko ta ya dan egu sumamo.
The president assured residents of the Eastern region that his administration will rehabilitate the bad roads in the region. He said as a food basket for the country, the resources of the Eastern region will be well harnessed to improve the lives of people.
And President Mahama says systematic completion of projects under his watch shows that his electoral pledges were not mere rhetorics. He told a gathering at Fodua in the Eastern region that the completion of the Community Day Senior High School for them is evidence of how he is working to develop every nook and cranny of Ghana. Napoleon Atokito reports.
The Community Day Senior High Schools, otherwise called the Yi Blocks. This is the one at Kwewu Fodia in the Eastern region. The Mahama administration has identified 199 other locations in Ghana to be provided this facility. This structure is the 16th to be inaugurated by the president. All the schools are to be attached with teachers' flats and new buses. Projecting into the future, the government says the community day schools may be converted into boarding when dormitories are added. For now, the new schools are to provide new space for qualified students who cannot gain admission to existing senior high schools. Fodia is the second place in the Eastern region after Kwaoba Nyanwa to have had a community day senior high school inaugurated by the president. Napoleon Atukito for GTV.
40-year-old Mr. Isaac Asampana is urgently appealing for support to enable him undergo a procedure to surgically remove an orbital tumor. The total cost of the surgery is 17,000 Ghana cedis.
Isaac Asampanan was diagnosed with frontal-orbital tumor in 2007. Orbital tumors are tumors that develop in any of the tissues that surround the eyeball. The tumor has led to the loss of his right eye. Isaac explains that he endures severe pains in the head due to the swelling. His source of livelihood is farming, but his condition has rendered him incapable of engaging in farm activities. His doctors say Isaac is in urgent need of a surgical operation to prevent the tumor from causing the loss of his other eye. The amount demanded for the procedure is 17,000 Ghana cedis. Isaac is appealing to the general public to come to his aid. Donations can be sent to mobile money number 0540-831-1,
says its flag bearer Mr. Ivor Greenstreet at the launch of the party's 2016 manifesto, which hinges on social and economic policies, responsive governance and international relations. The CPP says it will also reduce Ghana's debt to 40%, put an end to borrowing and increase GDP growth by 12% by 2020. Sarah Fori and Winifred Ifum's report.
The Convention's People Party is the fourth to launch its manifesto for the 2016 elections after the NDC, NPP and the APC. Christian Diapamfufro, which signifies the increased new covenant with the people, is also a reflection of their aspirations. According to its chair, Professor Edmond Dele, the CPP will not renege on its promises to the people, especially the youth. He cited party faithful to arise from its dormancy to wrestle for power.
The presidency of Honorable Ivor Greenstreet will definitely redress the iniquities of the past and shall set Ghana on the right footing for development. The future of prosperity shall thrive on the theme of oneness of the Ghanaian people. The future abhors tribalism, and the future rejects factionalism and sectionalism.
The vice presidential candidate Nana Gabi Nketia entreated Ghanaians to give the CPP the mandate to reverse the falling standards in society. Among interventions the CPP seeks to implement are to end the borrowing syndrome that has resulted in a 70% debt of GDP against the growth rate of 3%. The CPP says it will decrease the country's debt by 30% and increase GDP to 12% by 2020. The minimum wage will also be 13 cedis. Other highlights of the manifesto focused on persons with disability, responsive governance, foreign policy, agriculture and social policies.
The CPP will do the following: significantly reduce income taxes for teachers and health personnel, in addition to other incentives for those who work in rural areas and places designated as deprived. Use tax incentives for the private sector, especially financial institutions, to build school infrastructure, and in particular areas of the country, lease that infrastructure to the state for a specific period, after which it becomes state property.
A member of the CPP, Mr. Kwesi Pratt, said Ghana is ready for a president living with disability.
There are some people who think that we made a mistake in electing Ivor Greenstreet as the presidential candidate of this party. Why did they say that we made a mistake? Because he has some weakness in his lower limbs. We prefer people with weaknesses in their lower limbs to people with weaknesses in their thinking capacity. We prefer people with weakness in their lower limbs to people with weaknesses in their moral upbringing and moral ability.
flag bearer of the CPP, Ivor Kwabena Green Street, told the electorates to vote massively for the CPP, frowning on the imposition of genetically modified organisms and the Economic Partnership Agreement.
We must bring back our dignity as a nation. A nation without dignity is susceptible to abuse and corruption. And that is what we see before us today in all spheres of national life. We are abused by our leaders who fail to care for the people, and our society has become endemic with corruption. 24 years of the NDC and the MPP, 24 years of arguments, vindictiveness, divisiveness, rancor, and darkness. And yet, we have had enough. NDC and the MPP, Yabaku, they are the same. Dukataya. We have had enough. And as we are here today, we are launching a true manifesto. A true manifesto of ideas that represent justice, hope, opportunity, progress, and development.
Launching the manifesto, Mr. Greenstreet said the CPP-led government also intends to make postgraduate education free of any charges for doctors. The CPP's 2016 manifesto is also published in Braille and Sign Language formats.
And still on the CPP, the manifesto dubbed Apam Fufro, an increased new covenant with the people, is an elaborate extension and continuation of the party's ideologies which formed the basis of its 2012 manifesto. Some key personalities of the party and some persons living with disability who attended the function believe the manifesto is the antidote to the country's challenges.
The CPP is ready to take Ghana back to where it started from and where Kwame Nkrumah started Ghana from. When it comes to health, everyone knows that our health sector is nothing to write home about. CPP is ready to educate Ghanaians that we do not need to fall sick and chase after doctors, but we need to do things that will keep us healthy and strong so that we'll be productive.
We all understand, we have tested all the political parties. We tested NDC, tested MPP, and we have known what they can do. Every Ghanaian knows the standard and the direction of MPP and NDC. So we are pleading to Ghanaians to give us a chance, opportunity to see what we can do. So we launched this campaign to prove to every single Ghanaian that we are ready.
We are confident that we have the strongest, loudest message that we believe Ghanaians buying into it will be doing themselves a great deal of good to make Ghana work again as it worked for them in the First Republic, leading them into independence and leading them into Republican status. And again in the Third Republic, regaining our confidence after the years of mess by military needless interventions. And indeed brought back the pride of the African. And I believe that this is the time to let it happen. And you know, Providence has a way of doing things. Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah was overthrown 50 years ago. This year, in the 50th year, as we are commemorating his overthrow, the sad, brutal overthrow, the man leading the march of the Convention People's Party is a 50-year-old Ivor Kwabena Green Street. God never mistakes. There is something behind it, and no idea whose time has come can be resisted by the worst brutal army in this world. And we know we are winning.
Seriously, our concerns have been captured. Concerns on accessibility, concerns on access to health, access to transport, access to education, access to employment. All this has been captured into the manifesto. Concerns about support for parents who have children with disability. This has been captured. Concerns for the fact that when you are a disabled person, you need support. Some disabled persons cannot do anything. Severe disability. If you look at the manifesto, they've captured that into it, that there's going to be a policy where people who are severely disabled will be given assistance, and that assistance will be supported by the government.
What's because me fiti ba ya wo me be saying there
Muhu be that. Muhu there will be a stand as a candidate, presidential candidate. Yeah, my that. I be beyond that one. I would not one and do the wood and one and do able person. One good thing at time be a minimum. Men who there would not as a presidential candidate. Be no matter about what someone casa won. But I walk on Green Street or by some of my gardening now. Also, I'm saying, no, I'm a yay now. When you jana,
he has his main focus on the youth, and it is the youth that builds the nation.
I manifesto never papa. I manifesto no. Because a human centered. Yane enipa who do a farm for teacher for doctors, medicine for the pound for near Dingana. Yako or Munchain and Yakubusa Busamo. Anna, ya prepare some for to a manifesto. Your channel officer, Yankas, ya prepare.
Let's talk business. The Ghana Institute of Surveyors has recommended the passage of the Surveyors Council Law and Estate Agency Bill this year before Parliament is dissolved. The surveyors argue that the rapid expansion and growth of the construction and building sector calls for appropriate laws to regulate the industry.
Lately, Ghana's landscape, especially the capital, has witnessed a dramatic change with numerous real estate and high-rise buildings dotted around. With the taste of the Ghanaian changing, foreign entities have been involved in the industry, thereby introducing modern and new technologies into the sector. The 2016 seminar provided an opportunity for the quantity surveyors to discuss their performances over the years and find solutions to some of the challenges they encounter. And to the Ghanaian surveyors, the time to strike is now, so that Ghana does not lose out as it progresses towards the path of bridging the infrastructural gap, which requires about an annual investment of $1.5 billion.
It is for this reason that I urge you as quantity surveyors to display good ethical principles and work with standards to put you at the forefront of the built environment professionals in managing projects for them to achieve the intended objectives. May I humbly appeal to you all to show interest in the struggle to have enabling laws crucial to us in place.
The president of the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors, Mrs. Mercy Ayote, urged members to be innovative in the industry.
We therefore need to redefine our existing practices, to diversify the application and the tools of our professional services in order to remain competitive.
The commercial director of ACOM, a construction company in Qatar, Mr. Sivine J, advised surveyors to explore new trends in the building and construction industry.
I believe that even as KOSs, it is important, even though we are here, to look into the industry and see the other parties, other players that we can join forces with in order to respond adequately to the changes that are occurring.
The seminar was under the theme, New Trends in the Constructive Industry, Perspective for the Quantity Surveyor.
Still in business, the annual conference of the African Society of International Law has taken place in Accra. The conference discussed the importance of foreign investment law in attracting capital and harmonizing services and products. The Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Mrs. Marietta Brew Appiah-Upon, said it is possible for the African continent to have an investment climate and laws which will be mutually beneficial to all sides involved.
The African Society of International Law was established to provide a platform for the advancement of international law and its relevance to Africa. The society has a membership of about 300 from all over the world. The conference is held annually in an African country in collaboration with a university. This year it was held at Gimpa in Accra. A former president of the society, Professor Maurice Kamfo, said African countries should develop expertise both in drafting investment contracts and transfer of technology for a better protection of their interests. He says some African countries still rely on foreign lawyers for the drafting of contracts.
New international economic measures have failed to produce that intended results, not least because they were not good measures, but rather because Africa was not ready to engage in the type of economy those measures were purported for.
The Minister for Justice and Attorney General, Mrs. Marietta Brew Apiaopong, said Ghana has a wealth of resources, and with its stable democratic political system, it is one of Africa's leading investment destinations. She said foreign investment will be encouraged within Ghana, subject to laws regulating investment in the country.
From the statistics provided by the GIPC for the second quarter of 2016, it is gratifying to note that GIPC registered 51 new projects. A total of $59.2 million initial capital transfer amount was recorded, and the total estimated value of projects amounted to $1.41 billion.
Vice President of the African Society of International Law, Mr. Francis Butchie, said the society seeks to encourage and coordinate research on international law, mainly through the establishment of research and study groups on specific themes of relevance to Africa.
Airline group IAG, the owner of British Airways in Iberia, says the weak pound cost it £162 million in the first quarter of the year. Operating profits in the July to September quarter fell 4% to £1.2 billion.
The airline said it expects operating profits for the full year to be up by about 7%, a lower rate than the one it forecast in July. There was a raft of cost increases, including employee costs up by 1.6% and handling and catering up 7.5%. The company said the increase reflected additional compensation fees and baggage claims related to operational disruptions, including air traffic control strikes in France.
Good evening and welcome to My Journey. My name is Rachel Quarty. Tonight on My Journey, I'll take you through the capital city, Accra. In the past, the tall buildings in Accra were just about 5-story. In those days, buildings under construction featured scaffolds made of wooden planks, and the concrete was carried in headpans. Today, Accra's skyline is adorned with beautiful high-rise buildings, some with 26 floors. On My Journey tonight, I'll walk you through the panorama of the new Accra.
A crane is a type of machine generally equipped with a hoist rope, wire ropes or chains, and sheaves that can be used both to lift and lower materials and to move them horizontally. It is mainly used for lifting heavy things and transporting them to other places. The scale of work done by the crane is usually beyond human capability. In the construction industry, cranes are used for the movement of materials such as iron rods, blocks, and concrete. Some years back, it was not common to see tower cranes mounted around town because people were not putting up high-rise buildings. But in Ghana today, especially in the capital Accra, the construction of high-rise buildings is common. A drive through Accra these days is fun. The city brandishes tall buildings and features that in recent past seemed very remote to us. Carrying building materials for the construction of these tall buildings requires the use of cranes, since it would be too stressful and time-consuming to use manpower.
But now we will be but then we
While cranes play such an important role in building construction, their usage poses danger. If not mounted well, The materials being carried by the crane can fall off and result in fatalities. There are times when the crane itself breaks down. In 2015, 2 cranes fell onto a row of buildings in a city in Holland and injured several people. The cranes were being used to restore a bridge on the river region when they tipped over, crashing into apartments and small shops beneath them. In the same year, in Mecca, Saudi Arabia, a crane crashed into the Grand Mosque full of worshippers and killed at least 107 pilgrims. The death toll rose to hundreds in subsequent days. One question worth asking is what triggers crane accidents?
With negligence most of the time. Obviously mechanical can come in, but that's very, very uncommon that you find that things have not been fitted properly. Obviously there will be 1 or 2 it might be due to strict negligence. You know, the guy is upstairs instead of doing this, that's that. Because the supervisors have strict instructions on how people must behave. And if, you know, somebody might go the other way, it happens that.
We tried to find out if there are safety measures in place to prevent construction crane accidents in Ghana.
The people working must know that they are the only people around there. So if things are falling, they know where they are falling, there's nobody there. But if you leave the place open, people cross over, somebody can get hurt who is not even a staff there. The worst thing to have is to have somebody getting hurt who doesn't work there. It's more serious. In other words, you left the place open. So generally, the place is hoarded. Sometimes you don't even see what's going on there until the thing is ready. And it's become part of it. The law even requires you to hold the place before you are doing.
We are bound by the national safety policy. Even though in Ghana we don't have a specific construction safety policy, so before the contract is started, we get a contractor's plan, which should be in accordance with the safety specifications. And this is approved before they start. The contractor also has a safety department. They have safety managers who implement the plan. And whilst the construction is going on, the client's safety agent ensures that he monitors contractors' safety operations and makes sure that it's according to the plan. So that's how we ensure safety on site.
Though cranes are very useful in the construction industry, contractors and engineers ought to check the machines frequently and carefully avoid accidents.
And that was my journey through Accra. Hope you enjoyed it. Do make a date with us next Saturday. Till then, enjoy the rest of our news.
In sports news, the Inspector General of Police, John Kudalo, has appealed to the Ministry of Youth and Sports to consider the revival of the SESA Games. Mr. Kudalo says this will revive the competition among the security services in order to improve the standards of sports in the country. The IGP made these remarks during the IGP's awards ceremony and reception for sportsmen and women in the service.
The Police Service IGP Special Award.
The IGP's award ceremony is an age-long tradition of the Ghana Police Service held to acknowledge and honor officers and other personalities for their exemplary performance and conduct in their respective fields of speciality. This cherished tradition was off the calendar of the police service for a while, but has been revived, in keeping with the adage that says, a nation that does not honor its heroes is not worth dying for. The police service has instituted the IGP's award ceremony to periodically acknowledge and honor deserving officers. In most cases, awards are presented to personnel who performed core mandates of the service, namely general duties. However, the new administration has deemed it worthwhile to extend the policy to cover personnel who perform other police functions other than general duties. After decorating the gallant men and women, the Inspector General of Police, Mr. John Kudalo, called for the revival of the SESA Games.
Let us therefore humbly take this opportunity to appeal to the Honorable Minister for Sports to consider the revival of the SESA Games to rekindle the competition among the security services in order to add impetus to improving the organization of sports in the country and also give opportunities to the teeming youth who develop their potentials in the field of sports. As we celebrate our gallant sportsmen and women, it's also important to reiterate the need to improve upon the sporting facilities at the National Sports Training School. Our football pitch, volleyball, tennis, and basketball courts are all in deplorable state. I would therefore like to take this opportunity to again appeal to the sports minister, individuals, and corporate institutions to assist us redevelop these facilities. Setting up a special fund specifically for this purpose would be a laudable idea and a step in the right direction.
Some officers said they have been motivated to do more in the coming years.
I've been with the team for almost 25 years, 21 years now. I'm still the eldest in it. I'm still playing actively with the junior ones. So I was surprised, and honestly I'm so happy, and I'm very, very grateful to the Inspector General of Police.
It's an honor to be decorated by Inspector General of Police, and even see him in person. It's a great honor to see an IGP in person and then to be decorated by him. I felt very great.
I've been in the police service for 4 years now, and I don't think I had this opportunity to be with the IGP like this. So I feel very good, very honored.
And still in sports, former IBF featherweight champion Joseph Agbeko in the early hours of Saturday recorded a unanimous decision over Tanzanian fighter Haji Juma. Judges scored the bout 189 and 189 in all favor of the King Kong Agbeko.
The Accra Sports Stadium on Friday night hosted the bantamweight contest between Ghana's Joseph King Kong Agbeko and Tanzanian opponent Haji Juma. The bout, codenamed Fight for Peace, was Agbeko's way of drumming home the message of peace before, during and after the December general elections. The bout was also the beginning of Agbeko's new career in the bantamweight division. Agbeko was the aggressor in the ring and dictated the pace from the first round to the 10th round. Juma proved a hard nut to crack for Agbeko as he refused to give up after being at the receiving end on countless occasions. Agbeko's powerful jabs, hooks and landing punches forced Juma to be on the defensive. In the third round, Juma was forced to visit the canvas but beat the countdown to continue. The King Kong went all out in the 7th, 8th and 9th rounds, hoping to record a knockout, but the bell always comes to Juma's rescue. The give and take affair traveled the full 10 rounds. At the end, all the three judges scored in favor of Agbeko. Judge 1, Erasmus Owu, scored the bout 100 to 89. Judge 2, Clement Ashon, also scored the bout 100 to 89. And the third judge, Me Mensa Akapu, scored it 100 to 89.
By way of unanimous decision, still the champion, and yet to be crowned again world champion, Joseph King Kong Agbeko.
Here are some reactions from the two pugilists.
I can tell he's very durable, he can take a punch, he can give, he's very durable, so I wasn't expecting knockout. I came, the game plan that myself and my team has is go there, make sure you win round after round. If the knockout comes, grab it. If it doesn't come, just stay calm, make sure you are winning. And that was hot we did. I'm moving on to the next one. I'll be fighting much tougher opponents in December. And then the main goal is to fight for the championship. I might fight for the GBC championship in Japan, or the IBF championship in the US or England. So we are getting ready. Ghana should expect a world 30 soon.
Congratulations, Agbeko, as a boxer, he's played well. I respect him.
The win is a morale booster for Joseph Agbeko, who is aiming at reviving his career in order to reclaim a world title.
Ghana's representatives at the ongoing International Weightlifting Federation and Commonwealth Junior and Seniors Championship, the Black Cranes, have picked another gold medal at the championship. Forester Osei picked gold at the seniors division, while Richmond Usafo picked silver again. Early on, Christian Amoa took Ghana's first gold in the youth 85 kilograms category, while Richmond Usafo picked silver in the 94 kilograms category. They both won in both the snatch and clean and jerk. The total medal haul stands at 4, made up of 2 gold and 1 silver and 1 bronze.
In the arts and entertainment segment of the news, the second edition of the National Festival of Arts and Culture witnessed the display of Ghanaian culture as invited chiefs from across the regions showcased traditional clothing to the admiration of many. The opening ceremony, which had the theme promoting a culture of peace for national unity, social cohesion and economic empowerment, was held at the State House in Accra.
The opening ceremony, which was attended by groups and individuals including students, art exhibitors, some ministers of state and traditional chiefs. The festival commenced with the exchange of greetings and pleasantries by the chiefs. The Dilongo Bobo group and the Greater Accra traditional groups entertained the audience with some traditional dances. The Osumanche Ni Okwe King Kadauna used the occasion to advise Ghanaians to eschew any form of violence that may endanger the country as well as destroy our culture. He called for peaceful coexistence to help preserve our culture. The Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, Mrs. Elizabeth Ufuswejari, stated that measures have been put in place to improve service delivery in Ghana's creative economy for the country to remain globally competitive. The Minister for Youth and Sports, Neil Vanderpoy, said tourism, culture and creative arts have the potential to generate income, jobs and export earnings. He also added that it also contributes to social inclusion, cultural diversity and human development.
NAFAC 2016 provides us with a unique platform to place all the multicultural norms, beliefs and practices that have molded us into one homogeneous entity as Ghanaians onto a common platform. This way, we shall all continue to celebrate our ethnic bonds and unity in cultural diversity.
The chiefs and the ministers of state also inspected some arts exhibitions mounted at the end of the program.